Are you one of these people that has heard of the law of attraction, that really wants to create and manifest a nice reality for themselves, one that they actually prefer because they're fed up of living a life that, you know, is not what we prefer. We live out accidental lives, don't we? It's almost like we get pushed around by life. But we can take it into our control. But there are three, I would say, for me anyway, three key ingredients in order to do that. And I'm going to dive into how we can use those three key ingredients to create a reality for ourselves that we really do prefer. So you may well have heard these before, but it's good to open up and come in with a beginner's mind maybe and hear these in a new way, almost like it's the first time, because these are the tried and tested methods from my observations in my life, and they work. They are currently working, and it has led me to a very blessed life, a very happy, fulfilled life. Of course I'm not perfect, of course I have down days, but this is really how I've learned how to create a reality for myself that I prefer. Of course, we have to change our insides first, not obviously physiologically, but our thoughts, our beliefs, etc. So the first, I suppose, missing key, the first ingredient to creating a reality that we really do prefer is our thoughts. We know that we have this one inside that's constantly raring at us with total negativity, and if we listen to it, we know that it can really, poison our internal system. It's almost like, setting an internal fire off. You know, it doesn't feel nice when we believe in negative thought about ourselves. For example, oh, you're stupid, or you should be better than this, or you should have more money than you do. All of these shoulds and shouldn'ts. This voice in our head that creates a negative, I suppose we could call it a negative manifestation inside of ourselves, that feeling that makes us feel not great, you know. That's the first missing key, is the thoughts. What are we talking to ourselves in our heads about? Let's just take it one step easier. What if we can't control that thought? Let's just say that it's fact that we can't control this negative thought maker, misery maker in the mind. Well, maybe we can't control that, but we can control our response to it, right? If that mental misery maker in the mind is dancing on the surface of our consciousness, telling us really negative things about ourselves, or we could just say, oh, thanks for your opinion, negative misery maker, and then move on with our day. But we don't, do we? We tend to believe it. We believe the negativity. So if we're going to change our reality, we have to change our internal reality. And to do that, we have to change the way we respond to those thoughts. Because if we don't change the way we respond to those thoughts, the second thing will happen. Those thoughts will turn into beliefs, because when we believe them, they're dancing on the surface of our consciousness, these negative, oh, you're stupid. And then we believe it. Oh, you're never going to get that girl. And then we believe it, don't we? We believe these negative thoughts because we've thought them so much. And if they're there, you know, it's like poking a badger. If you poke a badger, let's say a bear because they're more vicious, if you poke a bear and keep poking this bear, it's going to bite at you, isn't it? It's inevitable. Well, the inevitability of constantly telling yourself these negative things is that you're going to believe it after a while. And that's fine, you know. Sometimes maybe there's a feeling inside of us that we have to believe these things on this journey just for a while, just so we can taste this despair, this sadness, so we can taste the idea that we're creating a reality unconsciously, even though we're not. We're totally consciously in control of what we're creating. It's just we're creating negativity, right? And then that creates something outside of us that we don't really prefer. So to change that, so that we do create something that we do prefer, and trust me, this is just from my own life, it may not work for you, but I'm sure it will, because you're not special, you know, we're all the same. It's not like, sometimes I speak to clients and they're like, oh, but what if it doesn't work for me? And I'm there like, well, what's so special about you? If it works for me, it's going to work for you. And this is the law of attraction, isn't it? It's a universal law. It's impersonal. It has nothing to do with me and you. It will work for you if you employ it properly. So first, the missing key to creating The reality that you will prefer is thoughts. Change your thinking, or at least change the way you respond to the negative thoughts. Otherwise they turn into two beliefs. And when they turn into beliefs, they're harder to get rid of, but they're there. And when they turn into beliefs as well, they turn into negative emotions, don't they? Because then we form an identity around the idea that I believe I'm not good enough when this feeling in the belly comes, or I believe I'm not worthy of love when, I'm alone, or whatever it is, or, oh, I'm lonely. Whatever it is inside of you, these turn into beliefs, don't they? And they create havoc through us, and this is what we might term the dark night of the soul as we begin to change these beliefs. But it's the third point that I want to talk about today that is the most key, because if we've got negative thoughts, we turn that into negative beliefs. Remember, beliefs are just thoughts that you think a lot. So if we want to change them to positive beliefs, we just think lots of positive thoughts, even if they feel fake at the start, which guaranteed to you they will. Don't give up. Keep up with your unicorn attitude in your mind and things will change slowly, slowly. Trust me. But these things do take time. If anybody's ever told you on the internet that there's a big red button that you can push for instant manifestation, they lied to you. They lied. Well, who knows? Maybe it'll work for you, but it didn't work that way for me and continues to not work that way for me. However, the better we get at changing our beliefs and the better we get at being positive inside of ourselves, a real positive influence in our own life, the quicker our manifestations come, the quicker we get to change our reality, because our natural pitch, we're speaking from a higher pitch, if we can speak like that inside, like our vibration's a little bit higher. I don't like using that terminology because, people don't necessarily understand it fully, but when I say vibration, I just mean that good feeling. And we're cultivating that good feeling with good thoughts. And this is how we create an internal reality much more alongside what we might prefer. And then those thoughts, those good feeling thoughts, turn into good feeling beliefs. And then we get to do the amazing thing. And this is the one thing that's totally overlooked in the law of attraction and seems so obvious and so simple, but it's so overlooked because people get lazy, I think. And people like talking about things that to make things simple, but then, it doesn't work for people because they want more followers or something. But the third and final thing to change your reality in a way that you'd prefer is actions. So we've got thoughts that turn into beliefs, and then beliefs that turn into actions. If we have negative beliefs inside of us, what might our actions be? Let's say we have this negative belief, I'm not good enough. We all have it. If you don't have it, you're denying that you have it, unless you're a naturally positive person, in which case fair play, but you'd have no reason to be here because you'd already be creating the reality that you want. If you're here, it's good to notice perhaps that we might have this belief inside of ourselves, because as soon as we notice and acknowledge that we do have it, the power's then ours to change it. If we deny it and say, no, I don't have low self-esteem, or I don't, I am good enough, and we actually have this belief inside of us, nothing will change, because we will have that belief inside of us and we'll be acting out of that negative belief because we've denied it. And what do I mean by that? Well, if we have this negative belief inside of us, this I'm not good enough that seems to mar our whole internal field, creates quite a negative state inside of ourselves, then we might do actions to try and change that state that are stemming from this I'm not good enough belief. For example, going to drink. Because my experience of now doesn't feel good enough, so I'm going to go and drink alcohol so that I do feel good enough. And it works, right, in the moment, but it's that acting out of I'm not good enough, which reinforces that I'm not good enough vibration out to the universe, and the universe will send you more things to make you feel not good enough. It's almost like you're asking for it. Admittedly, we're not taught about the law of attraction, we're not taught about spirituality in school, so we don't know these things. So here we go, these are these things. Please never, ever, ever, you can, sometimes we need to learn this way, because that's the way I learn. We need to act out of these negative beliefs, I'm not good enough, created by our point one thoughts. And create the action of I'm not good enough by going to smoke a cigarette. What does that say? It says I hate my body, let me feel good enough. So what might an action of somebody who is good enough be? Somebody that believes that they're good enough. Well, somebody that believes they're good enough believes that they deserve self-care. believes that they deserve the best for themselves, right? So an action to reinforce this I am good enough belief inside of us might be to sit down and meditate at the end of a busy day so that we can recalibrate our system, realign ourselves, recenter ourselves after a day of hard work, for example. I'm having to start doing this now because of the one-to-one calls I do. Sometimes, because I'm a very sensitive person, they are a bit emotionally overwhelming, and I'm running on a software. It's like when we have the iPhone and when it comes up with that thing and says you need a software update. I'm like that. I'm trying to use old software and bring that into my one-to-one calls that from the past, and it doesn't work anymore. So I have to change my self-care regime. Why? Well, because I'm good enough. Because I deserve the best from myself. And that is reinforcing then that I am good enough belief. And then watch the universe change to show you how good, wonderful and beautiful you are. Because it works like that. Trust me. No, don't trust me. Do what I'm saying and then watch the world change for you like it is me. Of course, down below, if you wish, there's a free guided breathing practice that will awaken some incredible feelings inside of you. It's really the oxygen doing the work. Perhaps we can dive a little bit deeper, but you have to sign up to find that stuff out first. It's free. You have to sign up, links down below. It's called Cosmic Double Breathing. It's a yogic breathing practice. That's what I do. I'm a yoga teacher. I also do one-to-one coaching down below. If you're stuck in your awakening process, perhaps you've had a Kundalini awakening or some sort of awakening experience that you can't explain, that's completely otherworldly to you, and you're stuck. Or perhaps you're in the dark night of the soul and you're stuck. I can help you. I've been there. I know the pain of it, and I know how to slowly guide you out of it. You can sign up down below. There's an application form, but it's free to sign up. And if you wish, down below there's an awakening group on Facebook for people that are going through an awakening experience and that want to talk about that want to support network, to talk about the things that they're going through, because we know as we go through an awakening journey it's very, very isolating. And if you need that support network that is down there for you, it's free. I'll never charge you for it. I offer it to you as a gift because I never had that when I was going through my awakening experience, and I'd like, if I can, to pay it forward and make the awakening for you a little bit easier if possible. I'm not gonna the awakening group's not gonna cure loads of things, but it might make it a bit easier for you. So it's there and it's free. Okay, actions. Third one. Actions are the real missing key, and actions out of a belief that I am good enough. Even if you don't believe I am good enough, do actions that correlate with that belief, because it's the actions that change. Remember, this is a physical existence, and physical actions are the language of this physical existence. And if we act like we're good enough, like giving ourselves self-care, like doing yoga, like resting when we need to, like fasting, like these things, then we show the universe through our actions that translates that physical action into a universal code, so to say, and the law of attraction will then work to bring us things that are more in alignment with our newfound state of self that is good enough, because our actions correlate with that. If you practice this, this will work, but it might take time. That is, in my experience, the code to how I've changed my reality. And there it is for you. If you want to use it, use it. It works. Thank you very much for watching, and have a lovely day.